I never watched a ton of Nickelodeon shows growing up, but there were three that really stood out and that I always did tend to watch, and those were SpongeBob, Tough Puppy, and The Fairly OddParents. The Fairly OddParents, for whatever reason, is a show that I think about somewhat regularly as I've grown up. I think it's just something about the characters that just always really stand out. I think it's a really fun world that they kind of created in this show, and it's something that every so often I see myself revisiting when it gets added to whatever random streaming service it's added to for that month. With that being said, a few years ago they made a spin-off reboot kind of show called The Fairly OddParents Fairly Odder, and I never watched it. I always kind of in the back of my head said I'll eventually get around to checking it out, but I only ever heard negative stuff about it written on social media and it just never really caught my attention, and before I could ever actually watch it, it was erased from existence. And to my knowledge, there's no way to watch this show at all. So it actually really shocked me a few weeks ago when I saw that The Fairly OddParents was back with a brand new, another reboot show even after that one that's currently airing. I saw this through social media, I saw a bunch of people posting about it, and I thought the art style looked really good, and I saw that there were some new interesting characters, and overall it looked like it was fairly positive, at least what I was seeing about the show, so I decided I was going to check it out. I actually only watched 2 episodes of this show. I'm going to go and rip off the band-aid right there. I watched episode 2 and episode 3. So with that being said, this is kind of how I feel about the show so far, because I'm probably not going to watch any more episodes, just being realistic. I don't see myself tuning into Nickelodeon a lot at this point in my life, but I did want to check it out and see how this kind of reinterpretation of a show that I grew up with, kind of how it looks now and how it is. So let's just go ahead and without any further ado, let's get into The Fairly OddParents, A New Wish review. First of all, I think we have to talk about how good the art style looks for this show. I think there's a lot of really fun things that they do. The characters being 3D animated looks really good, but what I like even more than that is how they're able to play both a mixture of 3D characters as well as 2D characters using like the original show's art style. Pretty much anytime there's a character who's not like a speaking character, if it's like a character on a poster, in a movie, anything like that, in a museum when you're looking at different like statues, they're going to be 2D animated, but then you're going to see the main characters and they're going to be 3D animated. I think that's really cool. I think it's put together really well, and I just think that that's a really cool style for the show to take on, and much better than the sequel show for sure, but I would say it's probably even better than the original show style. And from there we have to go ahead and talk about the theme song. I would love to be able to play the theme song here, but I'm sure I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm probably going to try, we'll see what happens, but either way, the theme song's really good. It's probably the closest they've gotten to the original. I have not seen the later seasons of Fairly OddParents. I watched, right when they added the dog is when I stopped watching. I believe his name was Sparky. When they added Sparky, I quit watching, but I do know they changed the theme song after that because I saw it on Twitter at some point. And then I know the spin-off show, I've researched it looking into this video. I didn't like its theme song either, so I do like the theme song for this show. I think they pulled it off really well, and I think there's a ton of improvements. If there's one thing I can say about this show overall, it knew how to improve The Fairly OddParents in the modern day. Alright, now let's talk about probably the biggest change in the show overall, and that's the replacement of our main protagonist. In the original series, it was Timmy. I don't know who it was in the middle series live action. To be honest, I don't know who it was, but I do know that this one has Hazel, and I actually think Hazel is a really good character. There's only one problem that I have with it, and that's I don't really see why she has Fairly Odd Parents, but also there's some kind of workarounds with how she gets them. It's a little different. They're not like assigned to her from the original, like how they were with Timmy. So I'm gonna give it a pass. I can see how they ended up being her Fairly Odd Parents, but with that being said, I do think she's a very fun character. She's different than Timmy, but that's a good thing. If you are going to continue a series like this, you need to have a very different protagonist, because then the new character can wish for new things that Timmy would never wish for, and I think that's very clearly seen from what I've seen. Out of the 4 episodes I've seen so far, one of the wishes I could have seen Timmy make, and that's the museum wishing for dinosaurs to be real. But every other wish I've seen, like the one where there was an episode where her friend is scared to watch a scary movie, so she wishes that she's fearless. A wish like that wouldn't work with Timmy. I can't imagine him making a wish to benefit one of his friends. And I also can't really see the wish with the teachers. There's an entire episode where where she wants to be friends with her teachers, and I couldn't imagine Timmy making that wish. So that's fun, and that is what you need for a new reboot. I do kind of wish that Timmy was in some way involved, but I also think it's kind of fun and just to have kind of written Timmy out. I know there was a lot of controversy when the show first came out. That's actually how I first found out about it, was people were worried that grown-up Timmy was just like a bus driver. Apparently it's come out now and they've said that that is not Timmy, but I kind of like the idea of where Timmy ended up being a mystery. I think that's fun. I actually really like the way that Cosmo and Wanda are characterized in this series. They kind of go back to the root of the earlier seasons of Fairly OddParents. They're really helpful. They do bicker a little bit, but they really do care about each other, and that's something that you kind of lost in the original series. With that being said, though, there's a few little minor references to Poof. Poof needs to come back. I do like Poof existing in the series. I know that that's kind of a controversial take, but I do like Poof, so I hope at some point we at least get to see where Poof is at this point. And speaking of references, this show references Timmy a ton, and I think they do it a little bit too much. Like I said, I think the kind of mystery of where Timmy ended up is something they should keep. I know he's like the school mascot in one of the episodes, and there's the reference of the bus driver at least looking very similar to him. I think it's better if we just keep that a mystery. Finally, like I said at the start of this video, I don't really see myself continuing to watch this show because I don't actively watch Nickelodeon at this point, but it was worth checking out just to kind of see what the characters were up to, and I would love to know what you guys thought about this series, or if there's any other like reboots like this that are worth checking out. I know there's like sequel SpongeBob shows, and yeah.